Now let's talk about symbolism in poetry. What is a symbol? A symbol is a tangible, a real thing that represents abstract things. Something that is real or concrete that represents an abstract thing. For example, rose represents love. Rose is a symbol of love. Dove is a symbol of peace. Like imagery, poets can use symbolism to help them convey so much in few words.
Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood, looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear. Though as for that, the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference.
So the road now taken is a symbolic poem. Here the two roads symbolize choices in life. This poem explores the idea that each decision you take, no matter how seemingly small, can have a significant impact on one's life. The road less traveled by symbolizes the speaker's desire for doing something different, a desire for individuality, or perhaps a willingness to take risks. While the other road, the conventional road, represents more conventional choices. So the two roads at the fork symbolize the choices we face in life. They represent the decisions we make, which can lead to different outcomes and experiences. So in that sense, this is a symbolic poem. Poetry and music share some historical roots. Both poetry and music originated together in oral traditions. Some ancient poems were often sung or chanted. Poetry and music also have some shared elements like rhythm, repetition, and sound patterns. You already said that rhythm creates a musical beat in poetry. For example, iambic pentameter, trochaic meter, all of these create a sort of musical beat in poetry. Rhyme and refrain adds flow and memorability to poetry. That is why nursery rhymes are so easy to remember, because when a poem has rhyming lines, it makes it really easy to remember. That is why rhyme and refrain are so common in ballads and lyrical poems. Now, song lyrics can also be considered poetry because many song lyrics follow poetic forms. They express emotions, they tell stories, they use figures of speech. So sometimes lyrics of songs can also be considered poetry. That is why several songwriters like Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, and even Javed Akhtar are often described as poets.
My name, it is nothing. My age, it means less. The country I come from is called the Midwest. As taught and brought up there, the laws do abide, and that the land that I live in has God on its side. The history books tell it, they tell it so well. The cavalry's tried, the Indians fell. The cavalry's tried, the Indians died. The country was young with God on its side. The Spanish American War had its day, and the Civil War too soon laid away. And the names of the heroes has lived to never rise. With their guns in their hands and God on their side. The first World War, boys, it came and it went. Their reason for fighting I never did get, but I learned to accept it and accept it with pride. For you don't count the dead when God's on your side.
Both music and poetry are forms of emotional expression. Both aim to evoke feeling and mood. They are both used to express identity, protest, or celebration. They are both entertainment and art. They both blend sound and meaning for artistic effect. Now let's talk about poetry in popular culture. Music lyrics, films, advertising, performance poetry, and slam poetry. First of all, performance poetry. Performance poetry is spoken word poetry. It is poetry that sounds like a speech, and it is meant to be performed aloud in front of an audience. It emphasizes the oral delivery, the physical presence and audience interaction. Slam poetry is a kind of performance poetry. It's usually an event where poets do not just read their poems, but they perform their poems in front of a live audience. And it's often a competitive event. Next, we are going to see an example of slam poetry.
Game changer. I am a game changer. I'm a change game, low age, no rage, on stage a ranger. I'm both yes and no, stay and go, catch and throw, goodbye and hello, forest ranger. I'm the lightning that makes the thunder rumble. I'm the space outside of the box. I'm the magnetic field between the moon and the sea. I'm the quality in equality. I'm the undiscovered myth of wordsmith. I'm the reality of my own big dreams. I'm the curve of the world that I can only just see. I am a game changer. I am a curly hair, very rare level of sublimity. I am a square of fresh air. I am the fair in share, a spare pair of prayers for stairs to infinity. I am a game changer. And no matter how much you change, no matter how much the world changes, no matter how much change changes, I will always be changing, as I am a game changer.
Both music and poetry are forms of emotional expression. Both aim to evoke feeling and mood. They are both used to express identity, protest, or celebration. They are both entertainment and art. They both blend sound and meaning for artistic effect.
Have you tried wheat? Their whole wheat with all of the bran. Won't you try wheat? For wheat is the best food of man. They're crispy and crunchy the whole year through. The kiddies never tire of them, and neither will you. So just buy wheat. The best breakfast food in the land.
When we say digital poetry, that includes Instagram poetry, AI generated poetry, multimedia poetry, etc. So here is an example of an Instagram poem written by Rupi Kaur. It's a blessing to be the color of earth. Do you know how often flowers confuse me for home? So a very simple, very short poem that is accompanied by an image. This is an example of Instagram poetry. Now let's take a look at an AI generated poem. Somebody asked, say ChatGPT, to write a poem about sculpting clay. And if you ask ChatGPT to write a poem about a particular subject, it will write a poem for you. For example, this is a poem about sculpting clay. Sculpting clay, a delicate art with skilled hands and a steady heart. To shape and mold, to create and form a masterpiece in the palm of your hand. With patience and care, you bring your vision to life, a sculpture of beauty in this humble material. So let your hands dance and your imagination roam as you sculpt your clay into a work of art. The limitation of AI poetry is that it does not contain original thought. What ChatGPT does is it compiles materials from different sources and kind of molds it into a poem. So that is AI generated poetry. A multimedia poem is a poem that blends text with various other kinds of media like audio, video, and images. So this creates a richer, more immersive experience for the reader or viewer. Now let's watch a multimedia poem. Poetry is meant to be read aloud. Now pause the slide and read this poem aloud. Only then can you really enjoy the musicality of the poem.